I've got this is maybe premature to say this, but I've also got trivia for you.
I am so excited.
I mean, normally, that comes a little later. Also, our last episode, Oh Brother Where Art Thou? We never did trivia.
We didn't.
I don't know. I don't know if you just didn't aggregate any together or what happened.
Do you want? This is like I'll take the listener and you behind the curtain if you want. Show me the money. What? Yeah. I had a piece of trivia, and I call it a piece because it was like kind of trivia, but it was also a conversation starter. But it was more to do with the year 2000 in film than it was with per se, Oh Brother Where Art Thou? So I knew
it's a cop out.
It's a bit of a cop out, but we had some things we wanted to get to, mainly like that theory that was pretty focal to our conversation. So I was like, you know what? Let's just get right to that. We'll get to it. There's a few, not to tease the audience, but there will be a future episode about a film from the year 2000 that I'll bring it up at that point. And to be honest, it's more relevant to that film, even though it's not about it specifically. Regardless, it's a cop-out answer. I didn't really have a piece of trivia, but there will be one that comes full circle eventually. That would have been last week, but I digress.
All right, that's copacetic. All right.
All right.
Hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Movie Men podcast.
Yeah. So now you have, I can officially say to you that you have seen the film that tried to single-handedly destroy a genre forever, and was subsequently saved by two very iconic superhero films. But yeah, that's Batman and Robin, man. That's that's you can't unsee that. You can wish, you can hope, you can want to take it back, but
listen,
you've seen it now.
Before we dig right into it, I just want to hear from your mouth, and I think I know what you're going to say. You're not gonna say what I want you to say, but I'm just gonna confirm, just to be right. Would you? You do throw some shade from time to time at the Christian Nolan Batman films. Would you say that the Christian Nolan Batman films are still worse than Batman and Robin?
No. So I can turn this into a hot take. I'll make this a hot take.
Please do.
This is the second worst Batman movie.
Okay.
The worst still being the 60s one. So it's the second worst Batman movie. But it isn't, so it is not as bad. It's worse than the Nolan trilogy.
Okay. I can agree with you there.
But I enjoy it more than the Nolan trilogy.
Oh, wow.
And it's solely based on a childhood nostalgia factor, right?
Okay.
So this film, Batman and Robin, is a horrible film. Horrible film. Utter garbage. But I grew up on it, and so as a sometimes respectable member of society, as a human being, as a Batman fan, as someone with a movie podcast, I hate the film. It's garbage.
Yeah.
As someone who owned the VHS as a kid and watched it several times, because if you're 8, it's a pretty cool movie.
Sure.
There's a lot of fun stuff that happens in this film if you're 8 years old. And so for someone whose childhood was comprised of so many rewatchings of this, I enjoy, I have fun watching it, right? Just because it takes me back to a place that it can't do for you. right?
No.
Having just seen this film for the first time.
But
yeah, so let's
back it up a bit.
Back up the bat track here. We are oh god, this is why Superman works alone. We're working through all of the Batman films. If this is if you're new or we haven't somehow made that obvious prior to now, we're working through all the cinematic live action Batman films.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we have stumbled our way into Joel Schumacher's 1997.
Yep.
Uma Thurman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, right.
Batman and Robin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So trivialize me.
Actually, so I'm turning it over to you. Last week I had a cop-out answer. This week I don't have anything.
Okay. So mine's really, really simple.
Okay.
George Clooney.
Okay.
Who was in this film.
And he was also in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
And was also in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? So we've done 2 George Clooney films 2 weeks in a row, which is interesting because we don't often double up actors back-to-back weeks. But I think it may also be the first time we've done George Clooney. So that's...
I think you might be right, to be honest.
We stumbled into him and then we just sprinted all at once. So anyways, George Clooney was in Batman and Robin.
Mm-hmm.
George Clooney was also in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Okay.
George Clooney regrets making one of these films. Is it A, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Or is it B, Batman and Robin? I'll give you 2 guesses.
I feel like it has to be this. Like without a doubt.
This is totally, he won't, he unless it's like to joke, to this day, he won't talk about it.
Wow.
And Joel Schumacher, the director, there's a clip I can send you from the bonus features of this film, apologizing for this movie and it was like it was a re-release
to George Clooney or just in general
to the viewer, to the fans of Batman. And it was like a re-release, so like he recorded this interview like years later after all the backlash. It wasn't like he knew he was releasing a turd. No, he was like
right.
It was like years later, and he knew the backlash and the hate and the fact that he had basically released a 90-minute toy commercial.
Toy commercial? Did you say?
A toy commercial because for 2 reasons. One. Chris O'Donnell, the guy that plays Robin, says the whole time it just felt like they were filming a toy commercial. Like it was ridiculous, just the sets and the colors and the dialogue and it just was ridiculous. And also, a film like this only exists for one purpose, and that is to sell toys to children. But he apologizes. He's like, if I really truly upset anyone, if I genuinely offended you, I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted to make an entertaining film, and instead I made Batman v not Batman v Superman, Batman and Robin.
And I guess it's no surprise because I think Batman Begins is either 04 or 05, so there's like a good 7 to 8 year gap between Batman films, right?
So it took a long time, and so interestingly, there was the Batman Begins was birthed out of it's a mutant hybrid of the film that was supposed to follow this one. So had this film seen a sequel, it would have featured Harley Quinn, I think.
Oh.
And Scarecrow.
Oh, sure. Which we obviously do
and
see.
so rewrites and people walking away from the project and directors coming and going and whatever ended up eventually it turned into Christopher Nolan directing Batman Begins. So this is like the almost sequel or the almost predecessor to like canonically is almost the predecessor to Batman Begins. So not only was the ability to make Batman movies saved by two films in particular, but sort of the superhero comic book genre in general was saved by two films. Can you guess what those two films were?
I was actually just going to ask you, but now you've got me on the hot seat. Like, they're? Can you give me a range of when they came out? Like, just as a guess.
Between Batman and Robin and Batman Begins.
Huh.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, okay. You've caught me flat-footed, but I'm just going to spitball it. So is one of them
one you know for sure.
So is it the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man?
Absolutely, that is one of them.
Okay.
Just paved the way for, wait a second. We can make superhero movies, comic book movies, and they can be, they can not suck.
Yep. So what is the other then?
The other is a 2000 film.
Huh.
Directed by Bryan Singer.
Okay.
Starring Patrick Stewart, Sir Ian McKellen.
Okay.
Hugh Jackman.
Sure.
X-Men.
Yep. Fair enough.
X-Men came out and was a hit, and it was serious and it was gritty and it was fun and it was, and so those are kind of the two. And an argument can be made for Blade as well.
Oh, okay.
The film Blade with Wesley Snipes. So yeah, there you go. So
wow.
Last time we reviewed a Batman film, I asked you how you felt about close-ups of bat butts and bat cod pieces and all of these things. What are your thoughts on? We'll start slow and we'll work our way up. What is your thought on Robin butts and Robin cod pieces?
Yeah. Listen, I don't know. It all falls into the I have a whole category for this film of did this just happen, and that it started off. It started off early and it was added too often. What I meant was it was added often, but it was also added way too often. So
sure.
Interpret it both ways because both ways are accurate. It happened in the last film and I kind of scratched my head, but at least it was just kind of an afterthought that was just kind of slid in like 3/4 of the way through, and it just kind of happened and it went on. With this, it was like a recurring theme from the opening scene. Like opening scene, we see bat butts, and it happens again when Batwoman comes, and we see like
Batgirl, Batgirl. Yeah.
And just
and like weirdly, so bat nipples. So Batman and Robin both have nipples in this.
Do they ever?
That was done. Joel Schumacher says like the idea behind it was they wanted to give it not only a more like organic, animalistic kind of look, but sort of like a very Roman gladiatorial armor kind of, because they had breastplates that were anatomically correct, right?
Sure.
Or anatomically more impressive than whoever was wearing it. But so we get that in this. We get bat nipples. We get Robin nipples. We don't. If you had a big rubber stamp that said bat nipples, I don't know that you could firmly stamp it on Batgirl. But if you had a stamp that said oddly defined bat nipples, but not so much that this becomes R-rated, if you had that on a stamp, you could totally stamp that on on Batgirl, because Alicia Silverstone has said, like, the worst part of wearing this outfit was just how big the boobs were. She's like, I'm not that big, and they were so pointy, and just the hint of a little bit of definition to show where the nipple is or would be, and it's just like, why? Who is that for? Is that for the continuity of bat nipples? Is that for the fathers who have to watch this with their children on a Saturday? Like, what? Who was that intended for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I ask you why for so many reasons, and there's no logical answer to me. Yeah, so I guess just chalk it up to the first thing of complaints for this film, for sure. Yeah.
No, George Clooney's nipple. I think you've gotten me all wrong. George Clooney's nipples, man. God, it's just so... There's nothing about George Clooney's performance in this, or just the movie in general, whether it's George Clooney... Mm-hmm. Or it's Bane, who they completely neutered the character of Bane. Instead of being this intelligent mercenary, he's this guy that goes, bum, bum. And it's like, why? Like, they just dummied him right up.
Yep.
Arnold's puns, his ice snow puns, right? He's like, what killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age, and just like, oh, come on, everybody chill, just chill. And you're like, why? Like, occasionally they're worth a chuckle, but it's not good.
Well,
the
and
Bat
so with
MasterCard.
With Iceman, I'm here yet because all his puns were lame, and it's a shame because of all the characters in this film, I guess all the villains, he has an ounce of depth, right? Because like his underlying story,
he's got so much conviction.
Yeah, and like there's a reason he's doing what he's doing, and we get some insight into he's just a guy who has a romantic partner who he's trying to save, and there was a moment where I was on the fence. I'm like, this could go either way. It's a little corny to start, but could go either way. And then it just obviously went flush down the toilet just because it was just so lame. And considering how much depth he had, I feel like Batman could have had a bit more of a conversation with him until the end of the film. Because with these events of the film, they kind of agree and kind of come to an understanding. And I'm like, maybe we could have done this before, like, billions of dollars of death and damage have occurred. But yeah, I agree. Iceman was pretty lame.
Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
And
Bane
has a love interest.
And so, yeah, Bane, sorry, I just want to agree with you. Like, there was a fence post in the opening scene that had more depth than Bane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Batman has a love interest that serves no purpose other than making the film a little bit longer.
Okay, stop. What? This is on my notes of things too. Who is she? Like, who is she?
Nobody knows. Who knows? Yeah. She comes out of nowhere. She's gone just as quick.
And, like, every interaction leaves more questions. Like, there's an interaction where they're in public and George Clooney is asked, are you guys going to tie the knot? And she says something, and I think it's deflective, and he just says something to her that was just really weird, and it was like, hey, thanks for doing that, but it was also like, what are you doing? And I just didn't understand the dynamic, and from a story written perspective, I had no idea who she was and why she should care. Like, she could have got hit by a train, and I would have gone, that sucks, but let's move on.
Oh, that's a shame for Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, and sorry, just from a Batman perspective, do we get a name on her? Like, is she anything of significance in the comic book world?
I don't know. I would have to. I don't know. I'd have to IMDb it. Maybe. Right.
But if so, it's obviously quite subtle.
Yeah, it's not like Vicky Vale.
Sure.
who is a iconic, or Selena Kyle as Batwoman,
right? Exactly,
or Catwoman, yeah.
Yep.
So who knows why she's there? She's just there to just max out the Bat Visa card.
I don't think she knows why she was there, to be honest.
And not only is it, MasterCard, not only is it a Bat MasterCard, but you want to talk about horrible one-liners. When Batman flashes his MasterCard and he says, "Never leave the cave without it," which MasterCard's slogan is "Don't leave home without it." I'm like, oh my God, this is the biggest, stinkiest pile of product placement. Holy crap.
I understand paying the bills. I do. You have bills. I've got bills. Everyone has bills. But at that point, like, you have no reason to not hang your head. Like, that is embarrassing and shameful. Like, it's not even funny. It doesn't even accomplish anything. It is just lame and pathetic. Oh.
Yeah. We have a new Batmobile.
Yeah, Amy. Yeah, we do.
I do like the length of the fins on it. I do like this like obnoxiously long, where the fins are like almost like the length of the car over again.
Right.
There's something just very sleek and like, animalistic about it. That's kind of fun.
I do. I do like the illumination of it. Like, it's very bright and it's very well lit, and I do enjoy it to a degree. I would say it's probably since the 60s Batman, which to me I don't like, so it's the worst Batmobile. It's probably like the second best or second worst, to that. So what I'm trying to say is the previous three Batmobiles I've liked more, but I don't have anything wrong with this one.
Right, sure. To me, one of the biggest sins of this film, like, so we've had, throughout this saga of 4 Batman films, right? So this is kind of the end of a saga, right? We're moving forward, because like this Batman is supposed to be the same. This is the same Batman that fought Jack Nicholson's Joker. It's the same Batman that fought Danny DeVito's Penguin, right? So this is like a continuity of Batman. And in this continuity, we've seen them play it loose and wild with some of the facts on characters, some of the bios, right? And be like, oh, we're going to change this about him a little bit. We're going to make Penguin this deformed, dude from down in the, and it adds a layer. It's like, oh, okay, this is an interesting take on it. But what they did with Batgirl in this is lazy, confusing. There's no reason for it.
Correct.
And I would argue unforgivable. So in this, Batgirl is the niece or great niece of Alfred.
Yep.
Never before in the comics has that ever been a thing. Total garbage. Total bullshit. Batgirl's real name is Barbara Gordon, because she is the daughter of police commissioner Jim Gordon.
Sure. Yep.
Why change that? There wasn't like, oh yeah, but it did add an interesting. No, it didn't. It like helped her figure out what the password would be. Which, by the way, don't you think the password for the friggin' Bat secret file on the computer should be a little bit more than like, a nickname for your... Are you kidding me? Holy crap, Alfred. Get your shit together.
Listen. No, there's nothing to listen. You're absolutely right.
Now, Alfred dying, that's a intense plot piece. Alfred's dying? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, that is I would say Alfred's terminal illness is the biggest threat that we face throughout this film.
Well, and
the one that like grips you the most, even though Freeze is like freezing the entire city with some bullshit technology that doesn't make any sense.
I do not care. He can freeze all he wants. I really don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my God.
But I hear you.
Bad,
but
man.
Alfred, like, if Alfred dies, I agree. We are shaken.
Especially because, have you not, to an extent, like, I know you're an Alfred Pennyworth, or Michael, I know you're Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
Con guy. Yeah. Master Wayne. Yeah. But have you not, like, admit it, you've grown a little bit, you've warmed up to this guy.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm nowhere near where you're at. And I probably, well, actually, I know for a fact I still prefer Michael Caine. But that doesn't mean I can't enjoy this portrayal of Alfred. And I have.
Right.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Cool. Talk to me. Talk to me about what you've got written there.
Well, so here's the thing. I think you touch on something because there's a small fraction of a backbone that could have been interesting in this film, or at least we would have found more interesting. And I think you hit on it. Like Alfred having this very serious illness where he was having a trajectory where he was going to die. That's serious and that's not good. And that really could have been emotionally charged and we would have been interested. And I will admit, I really liked the idea of these flashbacks of George Clooney or Batman or Bruce Wayne having these flashback moments of Alfred raising him throughout his childhood. I thought that was something that was not in line with the rest of this film. The rest of this film was just corny crap. Like you said, it was a toy commercial. It was one-liners. It was lack of depth in almost every character. But the difference with these flashbacks was it was trying to portray something that was a little more human or a little more emotionally layered than everything else we saw. So I that's actually something that I thought, hey, I have time for this, whether they were well executed or not, whether they were random or not. I still had time for them. I said, hey, this is at least something different. This is at least trying something new, and it gives us a bit more layers with Batman. So there were some things like that I thought, hey, I'm okay with this.
And it makes me wonder, because like we talked about how there was Batman Forever. There was like a different version, a darker, grittier, more intense, more psychologically analyzing kind of version of the film. Mm-hmm. But that Warner Brothers got in there with their, I don't know, you have to sell toys and make sure the McDonald's is happy, you know. And so, and it makes me wonder, because listen, Joel Schumacher is not a bad director. Mm-hmm. Right? Joel Schumacher, in between directing these two Batman films, he directed A Time to Kill with Matthew McConaughey, Sandra Bullock, Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Spacey. He directed Gerard Butler in Phantom of the Opera.
Samuel Jackson was in that.
Oh, did I not say that?
Oh, maybe you did. I maybe didn't hear it.
I thought, Sorry. He directed Phantom of the Opera.
Like with Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler.
That Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, so okay. So this guy's got some
serious... He directed Jim Carrey in The Number 23.
Okay.
Like, he directed a couple of episodes of House of Cards. You know, he's like, he is a good director.
Right. Yep.
You know, I think he just, and I don't know. So I don't know if there was a contract in place, and once he did Batman Forever, he was like, that, you know, he was nuptially locked in, or what happened. But I'm surprised. It assuming he had the option to jump ship, I'm surprised he came back and did more of this crap.
Yeah. It's hard to know, right?
Like I know that you thought the Batman Forever was kind of a breath of fresh air, but even you have to admit that this is air turned sour.
Yeah. Because to go retroactively, after we watched Batman Forever, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was a breath of life. And I was, even with our schedule, I'm like, let's swap it. So let's swap things out so we can get to Batman and Robin sooner, because I'm really feeling
this
the juice.
is what you were eager for.
I was like, let's keep the train going.
This is what you wanted.
I wanted this. I'm like, let's keep the train going. I know nothing about Batman and Robin, but from what I've seen in Batman Forever, let's go. It's a fun 90s film. Let's keep it going. And this was a brick wall. This was the stop sign. It was the dead end. I was wrong to have wanted to continue so soon. And yeah, it's just way too campy. It's way too corny and everything else that we covered. And it's just really hollow. All the villains, all the heroes are very hollow. Like we said, Bane is a fence post. Robin, he's okay, but the Batman and Robin in here are just, they're very whiny and complainy with each other. And I don't mind conflict between characters, but it just seems to kind of go in the same circles with this. And there's some redeemable things, I guess, like I said, with the Bruce storyline, but overall, it's a very hollow film. And I think you raise a good point. This director isn't bad. He's got some good gems in his resume. Maybe he had a bit of a Spider-Man 3 issue going on, where we know that Sam Raimi was having one direction in mind, and his boss has said, nope, you've got to have this many villains, you have to do this and this and this. And Sam Raimi probably said, well, how? It's going to be a crap film. And they said, oh, well. And so...
yeah, we don't care.
We don't care. We signed the paycheck. So... regardless, I think you're maybe onto something about, maybe he had some outside influences monetarily in nature that were kind of guiding his decision making. But
I have a question for you.
Please.
So without going into too much detail, is it fair to say that when you did post-secondary, your post-secondary education, that there was some degree of biology and health sciences classes involved?
Yep. Yeah, sure.
Then please explain to me how Victor Fries is smoking this freaking cigar. What is this cigar? Because my understanding is room temperature kills the bastard. So how is it all of a sudden that he's, sucking back a stogie?
The question is a valid one, which I also wondered.
It's not just me. That's not just me, like uneducated in the human body.
No.
Human body. Okay.
My question to you is, what happened to Val Kilmer?
Who cares? But
okay. Moving on.
I don't know. My assumption is he has self-respect, and it's self-respect that George Clooney, for some reason at this point, George Clooney was like, whatever, I've done ER. I'll, I don't know. I don't know. He talks about how he really truly believed that it was, that it was going to be a really good career move for him. Was, and Batman and Robin was going to be the thing that just like kicked it off. And, well, because he saw, how it furthered Michael Keaton's career and stuff. And so
it didn't ruin his career though. So there's at least that.
I would say it's actually incredibly impressive. And probably a little bit of a anomaly that an actor was able to make that dramatic of a comeback after this horrendous of a film. Like those are, it's too, like this film and the career that he swiftly went on to have, they're two very different extremes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So what else is written on your bat paper?
I got a few things. Ivy, Get in Line wasn't done that well. A little one-dimensional. And we got some star power with Uma Thurman. She was... Again, there's so many things that I went, what if? Or what? Not if, what if? Why was this in the film? one of them was just the banter between Batman and Robin, saying that how did they phrase it? She's got great stems and butts too. And you know, I just looked at the screen. I'm like, are we really here for lame puns from Arnold and you two? Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? When there was an ice hockey fight with Batman, Robin, and the Freeze's henchmen, I also said, what in the hell are we doing? I forgot that Robin's name was Dick, because when Batman said to Robin, she wants to kill you, Dick, I forgot that, like, I thought he was calling him a dick, and I was like, oh, a little intense for the 90s. Anyway,
I think there's a double. Going for the throat there.
So yeah, I mean, the comments about Ivy, I honestly thought what's happening here. The ice hockey fight choreographed scene, I thought what's happening here. When Robin goes on,
how do those blades come out of the bottom of those boots?
I literally do not care.
How?
Do not care. When Robin goes on the tangent about wanting a car because chicks dig the car, I honestly thought, Robin, that's why you're having, like, just get past it. Come on. Like, what are we, not even, it's just so much of what Robin's dialogue and motivation was consumed by in this film was just so, like, he had such a glass ceiling that he couldn't be anything more interesting that I think he really could have been if they had let him just focus on things more than just living in Batman's shadow and wanting a car and anything like that. Peripheral characters, I guess Robin was the same actor, so that's cool, I guess. We've talked about Batgirl, which just seemed really contrived and random. And there was a specific scene where her and Robin were hanging off a skyscraper, like death impending, and then it just cut scenes to like them having coffee at home, and I was like, no, how did you get out of this? Like, they were motorcycle racing, slipped off their motorcycles, slid, and like Robin was like hanging by his shin and like hanging onto her hand, she was hanging off a cliff or a skyscraper, and I said, no, how do you can't just cut scene away from that. How did you actually escape from this?
So I have a question that I just thought of based on that.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on the idea that maybe this film, instead of being like a cohesive, like there's a lot of moments in this movie that aren't bad moments. Like the rocket exploding and them kind of surfing down on the doors. It's a little far-fetched, but it's cool.
I guess.
It is cool.
It'd be cooler. I'll stop you there. It would be cooler, and I can see how an 8-year-old would say, hey, this is fine.
Sure. The motorcycle race and the whole sliding off the edge and catching, it's a cool race. It's a fun scene.
Sure.
So there's... what are your thoughts on the idea that maybe this film, instead of being like this cohesive Batman film, is just this like collection of story pieces that don't have any, like, have very minimal connective tissue?
I mean, that's not that far-fetched. I mean, if someone has a mandate to say we need to sell toys, we need to sell lunchboxes, we need to do whatever, you don't need a cohesive, well-developed story, so maybe he checked all the boxes of his boss's requirements, and that's all he needed. He needed some races, needed some nipples, needed some Arnold Schwarzenegger smoking a cigar. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It does. I think you make an interesting comment. It does feel like a very segmented movie with a lot of different things going on that if they were explored throughout the film, I think we might have something, or at least something that's a bit more passable, but we don't. So therefore, we don't have that.
Sure.
The only thing
do you have anything else?
The only thing I'll say, we got the same commissioner for one scene, which is great. Loved the continuity there. That's sarcasm. And we obviously the same Alfred we touched upon. We got the cool line where not all heroes wear masks, which was great. I also I touched on this, the flashbacks with Batman of Alfred, and I also thought it was bold that for a movie that was such trash, they tried to do something emotional where Batman literally said, "I loved you" to Alfred. My two questions for you related to Alfred and related to the further story of the plot, and then I think that's all I have to cover. So 2 things. What is this BS McGregor syndrome? And what is this other BS storyline of Alfred looking for his long-lost brother crap and never finding him, and then it's kind of like it's talked about in one scene and then never brought up again? Was I missing something with either of those things?
Right. Well, no. So I don't know why Alfred,
okay. Yep.
Yeah. And obviously McGregor syndrome is fictional. But I have a question.
Yeah.
You looked it up though, didn't you? You were like, you're like, I'm intrigued. What the hell's McGregor syndrome? And then you're
totally.
like, it's not real. Okay. Yeah.
I did look it up.
Yeah. It's not real, but I mean, I think that's the right way to go. If you're sitting down in a theater to watch a movie and it's your first time out since you have found out that you have pancreatic cancer, and then all of a sudden Alfred's dying of pancreatic cancer, you're like, oh, well, there goes my night out. I think a fictional phony disease is totally the way to go.
I think you're completely right from a story continuity perspective. You're going to get if you pick something that's real, people are going to nitpick and be like, "Oh, that's not accurate. That's really stage 3 blah blah blah." Well, when you pick something fictional, it's easier to just be like, "Hey, we've made it up so no one can nitpick about this." But the bigger point that you hit on that I think is more important from a story perspective, people don't want to watch Batman to be bogged down with the realities of life. Let's just have something that's fictional that we can just overlook and be distracted about reality. I agree.
Right. And then, I mean, there's just sort of the potential longevity of it too, right? If let's say for the 30 years that Mr. Freeze has been a character, that his wife Nora has always been dying of Parkinson's.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
And then and every iteration we always do it. It's cartoons and comics and video games and movies and whatever, board games. Nora's frozen because he's looking for a cure for Parkinson's. Well, what happens in the year 2027 when by chance we have cured Parkinson's?
Right.
And then all of a sudden it just doesn't work. Then now you have to change it because you can't do a Batman movie in 2020 or 2030 and be like, he froze her because then the audience would just be like, well, then just effing cure her. What do you mean?
Right.
We have a cure. Get over it. Right. So again, making McGregor syndrome this sort of horrific thing, and that's just it too, is that you because it's not a real thing, right? There's you can never say, oh well, that's not realistic, because it's not real, right? So they can make the symptoms whatever they want, they can make the prognosis whatever they want, because you can't argue it. You can't be like, well, it's, in fact, I went to medical school and the way that this actually happens is it's not a thing.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Is that it?
That is it.
0 to 0.5 for me, my friend.
I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of true, and that's why it's funny. Okay, so I use 2 scales. I use a scale for myself to determine how much effort I want to put into a film. The other scale is called Marshall scale, and it's just a scale from 0 to 10. What did this film get? So
named after a guy who's been on the show a couple of times, named Marshall.
Yes, who we love. On my scale, it's like theater's the highest that I'm willing to give a film for effort. Second highest would be like premium access. Like I'll pay the $30 and watch it at home. A bit lower would be, hey, if it's on a streaming site, I'll probably throw it on. And like the lowest of the low is like, I'm only watching that thing if there's no Wi-Fi at the cottage and it's pouring rain and there's a VHS of it. And even then it's kind of a maybe. This film definitely falls into the bottom category. I gave it a 3 out of 10. So like I'm maybe watching it at the cottage if there's no Wi-Fi and it's been like raining for 7 days in a row. And I'm just looking for something to do or to laugh at. But even then, borderline. On a normal scale of 0 to 10 on Marshall scale, I gave it a 2, maybe a 3, but I'm thinking a 2 out of 10. The one thing I'll say, when I'm looking, and you pegged it, as far as the Batman films, like the 1960s one is the worst. This one is the second worst. I didn't like Batman Returns as much as you, the one with the Penguin. And it's a bit of a hot take because I know how popular it is. I wanted this to score higher than that, and it obviously came nowhere near, because as much as I didn't like Batman Returns, I had nowhere near the complaints for it. So, regardless, this is the second worst Batman film for me. Where does this film rank on a scale of 10 for you?
So I give it a 4.5. And I concede to the fact that is purely subjective and that it is mostly fueled by a nostalgia factor. And if that nostalgia factor is not there, then the film should score much lower.
Sure.
But factoring in the nostalgia factor, the nostalgia factor doesn't even bring the enjoyment up to a 5 for me. But it does certainly elevate it from the, sort of primordial soup of the 0 range.
Right. Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Yeah. Speaking of primordial soup, Marshall.
Hey fellas, it's Marshall. This week I watched a 2004 film called The Machinist, featuring Christian Bale in a role where he apparently lost over 60 pounds for the part. The story revolves around a man who claims he hasn't slept in a year and explores the toll that seems to take on his mind and body. What did you watch this week?
All right, thanks, Marshall.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Christian Bale, you know what? Listen, I'm not a huge Christian Bale movie guy.
No, you're not.
In fact, my favorite Christian Bale movie is Empire of the Sun, which is like, he's brilliant.
Sure.
And I just haven't come across a role that I enjoy. I still need to watch, is it Ford versus Ferrari or something?
Oh, yeah.
I want to see that one really bad.
Sure.
But listen, I do commend Christian Bale's ability to transform himself, put on mass amounts of muscle for something like Batman, which I'm pretty sure he did Batman right after The Machinist. So I think he went from anorexic nothing to this big brawler style Batman.
I'm looking, Machinist is 2004, so pretty darn near.
So that, and then, he just did the movie Vice a couple years ago where he played Dick Cheney, and I think he, really put on it, I think he was over 120 pounds or something. Machinist, I haven't seen it, but I do know a lot about it. I've seen images of him in it, and it's pretty gnarly how thin he is.
It's hard.
I read a thing or watched a thing or something. A can of tuna and an apple a day was his daily allowance for food in order to get himself into that shape. So, which is
remarkable, but it's also it makes me a little uncomfortable. Just probably wasn't obviously it wasn't ideal for his overall health and well-being to put your body through that. So it's incredible, but it's also I'm a little uncomfortable by it. Just from a human being to do. Yeah, from doing.
You know what? It's an extreme dedication to your craft, but at the same time, one's obviously healthier for you than the other, but you look at this and then contrastly you look at things like these MCU films where someone's got to get superhero buff.
Right.
Like Hugh Jackman, right?
True.
And Hugh Jackman was like, it was eating 10 times a day chicken and steamed broccoli.
Right. Yeah.
And he said maybe if he was having a cheat day, it would be a cup of brown rice. Was his cheat. And it was like,
right.
it was months of 6 hours a day in the gym every day.
Sure.
And like, so it's just an interesting commentary on like what we are requiring of people for our entertainment, and just a dedication to their craft.
Yeah, I think you've really articulated how I feel, because I think on the one side, the dedication to craft, it's like, ooh, yeah, like good for you. And then what we put through for mere entertainment, it's like, ooh, I don't know, that makes me feel uneasy. So I think you've hit the nail on the head with that.
Answer the damn question.
Yeah, well, I just Googled it actually. So it looks like his diet was a tuna fish salad and a tuna fish sandwich and dysentery every day to get into that shape.
Ooh. Well, that'll
do it.
If you're looking to lose weight, I've heard that dysentery, while not enjoyable, is effective.
Right. Not much to report on what I watched this week. It was one of those weeks where just the schedule didn't align with watching a lot for film. The only thing that I watched with my wife is we continued our march on the Lost rewatch. We're still on the first season. We didn't get too far, but we watched a few episodes here and there. We've continued. The only thing I'll comment that I forgot about, there's a lot of shaky cam that I forgot about. And I don't know if it's just in the first season. I'm curious to see if it continues or it stops. I hope it stops. It feels very 2004-ish, which is obviously when the show came out, and I'm not a fan of it. But it's a technique that I'm not a fan of, or if it is in something, it has to be done well and tastefully, and if it's overdone, it's bothersome. But anyway, that's all I watched this week.
It's a very lazy technique. It is used to cover up lazy action cinematography or cinematography done by cinematographers who aren't good at doing action.
And I don't want to paint a brush. Okay, there has to be maybe one or two scenarios where I think it's probably acceptable, but for the most part, I would say I can do without it. That's all I watched this week. I did some swimming, some sun shining, partaking. So I did some things outside.
Right. Yeah,
but I think that's
outdoor,
far too.
Outdoor activities is not the theme of our podcast. So, no, sorry, continue.
That's what I did, and I you're right. Next week I'm just gonna sit inside and watch movies. I've had my outside time. It's time to move on.
Yeah, listen. Forget the vitamin C. Neglect your family, and just find go on Amazon, get yourself a beanbag chair,
right?
And plop it right, in front of your TV, and and just indulge, right? You've earned it. It.
What did you watch this week?
This week I watched, what was it? What films had I watched last week? How far into the MCU had I gotten?
Okay. I think the most...
I'd watched Iron Man 3.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure you watched Thor: The Dark World.
Dark World.
I threw up in my mouth, and you said, no, it's not as bad as we thought. It's just not that good. And I said, tomato.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's where we got. So this week I watched Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yes. Oh, and that's where we talked about. You said you were excited to do the highs and the lows. The highs being Captain America. Yeah. Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, nice.
Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay. Yeah.
Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Decent.
And Captain America: Civil War.
Yes. Okay.
And Doctor Strange.
Okay. Cool.
So
you're ripping right along.
Right along.
In my mind, there's I know they're divided into different phases and categories, but in my mind, I think about them more when I saw them. And you're getting closer to the recent history, what I would consider recent history. So that's exciting.
Yeah. So I'm in phase 3, and phase 3 is Endgame and stuff is the culmination of phase 3. Well, it's a culmination of all of it, but it is within phase 3. So yeah, I think I've got 10 to go.
Wow.
There's still a lot, man. That's a lot.
That's more than I expected.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Sure.
Thor Ragnarok.
Which I adore.
Black Panther. Avengers Infinity War.
Yep.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Captain Marvel.
Still need to see that. Okay.
Avengers Endgame.
Yep.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then there might be one in there somewhere that I'm missing. It was either way 9. That
Sure.
was 9.
Yep.
So yeah. So there's a hefty few.
That's fun though. That's fun.
Yeah.
That feels like a very it's a good thing to do. You picked a good time of the year to watch all of them because I feel like that's a very summer movie thing. I know we're not in the era where we can go out to see movies or we can go to the drive-in, but the MCU films to me are like the quintessential, drive-in movie or summer blockbuster event.
Well, I would never watch one in a drive-in just because, I wouldn't watch one in a drive-in for the first viewing because I need the sound and I need the image quality and stuff. But I am so even though it chronologically it doesn't happen post Endgame, I will I'm moving through these at a pace where I will be done in time for Black Widow next month.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So, and I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
So, yeah, wrap it up, man.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We do appreciate it. Please follow, subscribe on our social media pages. The links are below. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Be on the lookout for future episode votes where we let you determine what movie we'll review. You can check out our Patreon page, our merchandise page. It's ways for you to help support and maintain the show. It's also a way for us to give you perks back and get some extra abilities and some extra power and perks. So check it out. And for all those that support us on Patreon, thank you to our highest tier patrons, Daphne, Brenna, and Marshall. Thank you so much for your support. And until next time, which I believe we'll be getting back on the train for the Black Mirror series, I believe.
No. Next time we are in new release territory.
Oh, we literally just spoke of this. I think I'm confused.
Yeah, next time we're hopping on the Pixar train.
2 weeks from now, we'll be on the Black Mirror train. But till then, we'll be on the more pleasant train of Pixar.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. Maybe it's like a really messed up, make you uncomfortable Pixar movie.
Yeah, that really kind of has some existential crisis component.
Yeah, the kind that makes you question your very soul and being.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Like Finding Nemo.